The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.
Well, first there was Brad Pitt, Ben Affleck and Johnny Depp. And now there's you, Rod. You've become hirsute with that designer stubble. What's going on?
With what? Hirsute? What are you talking about?
Hairy. You've become hairier.
Yeah, I've grown this because you can hear that?
Ooh, yes. Can I do that?
That's because we're talking about beards and stubble today.
Okay.
Let's hear from our reporter Julie Davis first about this. See what she's got to say.
The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.
So, Julie, let's start off with looking at beards and stubble. Yourself, do you like a hairy man?
Do I like a hairy man? I definitely like a man with hair on his body, yes. I do quite like it. It's quite masculine, I think. I mean, not someone who's covered in hair, you know, all down their back and ape-like. That's a bit too far.
So not a bear?
No, not a bear. But a bit of a sort of hairy chest. It's quite nice, yeah.
Okay. But what about on their face?
And facial hair? Occasionally. Probably if I had to say one way or the other, I'd go for the clean-shaven look rather than the hairy look. I have to say my partner actually grew a beard recently, more out of laziness than anything else, to be honest. And he looked like a completely different person. Absolutely completely different person. I kept having to do a double take.
And you didn't like him with it?
Not particularly, no. I mean, I was quite glad when it went, let's say, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, for the dating show, you've looked at the stubble and sort of beard issue. Tell us about your research.
Okay, well, beards, they're no longer seen. They used to be seen sort of a bit, someone who was a bit scruffy, who didn't take care of themselves. That's not really the case anymore. Current research is actually that heavy stubble is the most attractive to women. So, I mean, you go from obviously clean-shaven, then you have light stubble, heavy stubble, and then on to the fully bearded effect. And the heavy stubble that takes about 10 days to get to for most men, that is actually seen as the most attractive.
Because I think I read somewhere that the sort of optimum length for attractiveness for stubble is something like 2 millimetres or something like that.
Yep, that's about right, yep. Whereas the light stubble, which normally takes about 5 days to grow, so it's just sort of beginning, that's actually seen as the least attractive.
Okay, so heavy sort of stubble, around 2 millimetres is the look to go for.
That's the one, yeah. And studies have shown that men with beards nowadays, rather than looking a bit sort of down and out and scruffy, that there's the impression that they're tougher, that they're more aggressive and masculine, and therefore perhaps make better romantic partners because they're going to look after you, take care of you, like proper Neanderthal man.
Okay, and what about full beards?
They're not so keen on the full beards. I think that's more a personal preference, really. I mean, there are actually a couple of websites dating websites out there now that actually cater purely for people who love beards. So, I mean, it obviously shows that there is a trend towards growing beards and that people like people with beards.
I just felt like laughing then. I don't know why.
You're not going to become a member then, no?
No, I don't think so. But sort of what about a moustache? And, you know, like the pencil little flicky bits up that you sort of Jeeves and Wooster type.
Again, I think it's more of a personal preference. Quite often it's used nowadays if people are going to fancy dress parties, if people are dressing up in a certain era. I mean, it makes you think of the 1920s era, doesn't it? Quite sort of debonair. Provided it's taken care of. People make an effort with making sure it looks nice rather than making sure it looks scruffy. But it's really rather the 5 o'clock shadow, that sort of look of having not really tried, but still looking very masculine. So, yeah, there was an article out recently that had a number of reasons why you should date a man with a beard that actually only came out this month. So beards are obviously very topical at the moment. So it's things like I said, it makes the man seem more rugged and manly. It's a great contrast when they're all suited and booted, but, you know, their face looks a little bit rugged. And there's this sort of image that maybe they can satisfy a woman's primeval urges to be sort of manhandled by a Neanderthal man because they look a little bit rough and ready. It's possible that it makes women feel rebellious as well, going out with a man with a beard. It takes you back to your teenage years when it's the idea of like dating a bad boy.
Okay.
Someone that's got a beard. So, and they say that men with beards tend to lead a healthier existence. Research has actually shown, because a beard actually blocks out 90 to 95% of the UV rays.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay, but catches a few sort of bits of food.
there's a downside to everything, Rod, you know. You can't have it all.
No, exactly. And sort of, do you need to keep it trim?
You do, definitely. You definitely need to keep it trim. There's sort of some skincare tips, say, for your beard. Invest in a beard trimmer to keep it nice and neat. And also find the right style for your beard. Not the same beard is going to suit everybody, so it depends on your shape of face as to what type of beard would be the best beard for you. Pick the right length, so don't necessarily go too long or too short if it's not going to suit your style of face. Have a manageable routine, so make sure you get up in time in the morning to make sure if you're going to have a beard, you maintain it. Clean your beard regularly. So this goes back to your point. So if you've been eating spaghetti bolognese or something, or a sausage roll perhaps, that you picked up on your way at lunchtime, make sure you clean your beard regularly. And also to keep the neckline and the cheek line natural, so make it look natural.
Okay. And, I mean, for men listening to this, what would your recommendation be? Would it be to go on a date with stubble or a beard or clean shaven? What's your advice?
My advice would be, I would say, personal preference, really. I would start off by saying you would need to probably go with the clean-shaven look, unless you are naturally inclined to have a beard, I would say. I would perhaps, for the first date, go clean-shaven, so shave your face, make sure it all looks clean and tidy, and then maybe bring the subject up over dinner. So actually perhaps talk about how your partner feels about facial hair. But then, on the other hand, if you've always been known for having a beard and that's how they found you initially, then I would say just make sure, as I said, go back to the tips for taking care of your beard and looking after it, and go with the, I believe it's known as the hirsute look.
Okay, and obviously we can't finish without talking about women. I mean, you're very smooth. Got to be careful here, haven't I?
Be so careful. That's a different show entirely.
Yeah, you're very smooth, and you have no facial hair at all.
I don't. No, currently no.
What do you mean currently? What, when we've met before, you've had a quick shave, have you?
I have, yeah.
The bearded...
To my point, it's best to go clean-shaven for the first date and introduce the topic naturally.
Yeah, the bearded lady.
Yeah.
No, but what tips can you give women? Because that is a real problem, isn't it, for some women?
It can be, yeah, and it can be something that can eat away at them and completely destroy self-confidence. I mean, there's lots of things now out on the market, different ways to actually remove unwanted facial hair. From the basic products that you can buy in a pharmacy to actually having laser treatment, etc. So obviously it depends on how extreme it is and how upset you are by it yourself, really, as to how you then tackle it.
That's our reporter, Julie Davis.
I love the idea Julie suggested of having my primeval urges satisfied.
Yeah. Do you like the
good.
rough and ready look, Debbie?
I like a bit of designer stubble. As I've matured, I think I've gone from white wine to red wine, and equally I've moved from a preference for clean-shaven to quite liking that stubble look. Not a full-blown beard, mind you.
Is mine about right?
I think that 2mm length is perfect, Rod.
Excellent. The thing is, with all this, you've got to, if you're going to have a beard, you've got to make sure your bush is trim. Yes. Would you agree?
The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.
So bad.